The twin moons of Kethra-7 cast their amber glow across the ceremonial grounds as the Velthian tribe gathered in a circle. Their chitinous bodies gleamed in the moonlight, mandibles clicking in rhythmic anticipation. At the center of the clearing, Elsa knelt with her wrists bound, her pale blue skin marked with the symbols of the condemned. She was the smallest of her generation, born with a malformed secondary heart that made her weak by Velthian standards. The elders had decided her fate months ago. When the harvest failed and the great river Croc grew restless, the tribe needed an offering. They always chose the weakest dot. John watched from the shadows of the jungle canopy, his human eyes adjusting to the alien darkness. He'd been observing the Velthians for 3 weeks now, ever since his survey ship crashed in this sector. They hadn't detected him yet. Humans had that advantage. Smaller heat signatures, quieter movements, and a stubborn refusal to follow the galaxy's unwritten rules. The tribal chief Varath raised his forearms skyward. "The waters demand tribute," he announced in the clicking language John had learned to understand. "The weak must feed the strong, so the tribe survives." 2 warriors dragged Elsa toward the river's edge, where the massive creature waited. The river Croc of Kethra-7 wasn't really a crocodile, it was something far worse. 30 feet of scaled muscle and rage, with 6 legs and a jaw that could snap a hover transport in half. The colonists who'd tried to settle here called it a hexagator before they evacuated. The Velthians called it sacred. Elsa didn't scream. She'd accepted her fate with the quiet dignity her people valued, even if they'd never valued her. Her large amber eyes stared at the water as the warriors pushed her forward. That's when John moved. He'd promised himself he wouldn't interfere. The prime directive of human explorers was clear: observe, don't engage. Let alien cultures develop naturally. But as he watched them bind this young woman and throw her to a monster, something fundamentally human overrode his training. Humans didn't follow rules when someone needed saving. John burst from the tree line at a dead sprint. The Velthians' heads snapped toward him, their compound eyes widening in shock. They'd never seen a human before. Most species in this sector hadn't. To them, he looked impossibly small, soft, and fragile. The warrior shoved Elsa into the shallows just as John reached the water's edge. The hexagator's eyes broke the surface, ancient and hungry. It lunged forward with terrifying speed, its jaws opening wide enough to swallow Elsa whole. John didn't hesitate. He dove. The Velthians watched in stunned silence as the strange, pink-skinned creature torpedoed through the water. Humans were pursuit predators from a death world Earth, though the Velthians didn't know that yet. They were about to learn. John's hand caught Elsa's bound wrists just as the hexagator's jaws snapped shut on empty water. He yanked her backward with strength that surprised her, then did something absolutely insane. He kicked off her shoulder and launched himself onto the hexagator's back. The creature thrashed, but John's hands found purchase in the gaps between its scales. Humans had an advantage other species often overlooked: persistence and pattern recognition. John had watched this creature for days, studied its movements, identified its weak points. The hexagator rolled, a killing move that would drown most prey. But humans evolved swimming in Earth's oceans, hunting prey across continents. John held his breath to minutes. 3 minutes, his mammalian dive reflex kicking in while the creature spun. When they surfaced, John was still there, riding the beast like humanity had once ridden horses and waves and anything else that moved. His combat knife made from earth steel was in his hand. The Velthians watched in religious awe as John drove the blade into the precise spot behind the hexagator's skull where the spinal column met the brain. One strike, clean, efficient. The creature that had terrorized their tribe for generations went limp in seconds. John dragged Elsa to shore, cutting her bonds with the same knife, still dripping with the hexagator's blood. She stared at him with those amber eyes, seeing him clearly for the first time. Small, yes. Soft-looking, certainly, but there was something in his eyes that transcended species, the look of someone who'd decided that unfair was unacceptable. Vorath approached slowly, his mandibles trembling. What are you? John helped Elsa to her feet, keeping himself between her and the tribe. "I'm human," he said in their language, his accent rough but understandable. "From Earth, and where I come from, we don't sacrifice the weak. We protect them. We lift them up. That's what makes us strong." He pointed at the dead hexagator. "You called that thing sacred because you were afraid of it. You gave it your weakest because you thought that was survival. But real survival isn't about feeding monsters, it's about killing them." Elsa's voice was soft but steady. "Why did you save me? You don't even know me." John looked at her and shrugged, a very human gesture. "On my world, we have a saying: the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing." I couldn't do nothing. The tribe stood in silence, processing what they'd witnessed. This small, strange creature had done what their greatest warriors had never dared. He'd challenged their oldest sphere and won. He'd rejected their most sacred tradition and offered something different. Hope.vorath. Single quotes. Mandibles clicked thoughtfully. You have given us much to reconsider, human, perhaps. Perhaps we have been wrong about many things. John nodded. Maybe, but that's for you to figure out. He turned to Elsa. You okay to walk? She nodded, still processing her rescue. I think so, but where will I go? The tribe will have to change. John interrupted gently. Because I'm going to be here for a while, and I'm going to make sure nobody else gets fed to anything. He smiled. Besides, I could use a guide who knows this planet. Someone smart enough to survive when everyone counted her out. You interested? For the first time in her life, Elsa smiled. That night, as the tribe held council to discuss their future, John sat with Elsa by his campfire. She asked him about Earth, about humans, about why they were the way they were. We're not special, John told her, watching the flames. We just decided a long time ago that the universe doesn't get to tell us who's worth saving. We decided everyone is. Elsa looked at the stars, at the vast galaxy that had suddenly become smaller and more welcoming. The other species will think you're crazy. John laughed. They already do. That's what makes us human.